Hey Tayla Talks fam, welcome to episode 3 of the Tayla Talks podcast. I'm so excited to have you all here and to show you my brand new guest for episode 3 of the podcast. Guest 2 is Tayla Preston, NRLW Bulldogs captain. Without further ado, let's go!
Hey guys, I'm Tayla Preston and I play for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs in the NRLW competition.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super excited to have you on Tayla Talks. I know I've got the exact same spelt name. Same
We do. Very good spelling.
Exactly. I usually put everyone's initials in the podcast. Won't do that this time.
Won't have to.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming on Tayla Talks. It's such an honour to have you on here, and I'm sure everyone's going to be super excited to listen to this episode. I know my parents are, so that's good.
That's the best.
Yeah. So basically you're a NRLW star, so it's absolutely awesome to get the chance to speak with you. We've got a couple questions today just to run through to talk about your experience, especially women in sport. That's a big highlight point for me. So I guess we'll just get into it with my very first question. So you debuted in 2022 with Para. What was that like, stepping out into the field for the very first time?
Yeah, it was super cool. I think, obviously, from a young age, I probably started my career at 16 and always had aspirations once the NRLW kind of kicked off. I wanted to be there and had a few injury setbacks, but running out there for Parramatta, I just was so grateful for the opportunity. Didn't know if I was going to get one game or a couple games that season. And, I think it was round 2 and, just running out there, I was so nervous, had goosebumps. And I just remember the speed of the game was just so different from, Harvey Norman level, which was kind of like our reserve grade at the time. But, for me, I was just, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face. I think, I was just so stoked to be out there and kind of just playing alongside some elite athletes and, the women in sport that have kind of paved the way for us. The likes of Jemima Taufa, Gail Broughton that came over from the Seven system there too. I think it was so exciting to be able to play with them. And I guess that moment for me was just, I finally made it and just wanted to do my family and friends proud. And absolutely loved it. Didn't get the win in my debut, but, I think when I walked in the sheds, a lot of our para staff, gave me a big hug. They were just so proud of me. And, that's something I'll just never forget and, absolutely cherish that moment all the time.
Oh, excellent. Sounds like it would have been such a special moment, especially how you said you had goosebumps. Did that go away at all throughout the whole game?
I think it was up and down, to be honest. I think once you get the ball in your hands, like I always need to have my first run, first tackle, and then I'm kind of good. But I feel like, when you get in those close games and things like that, you kind of do get a bit of goosebumps and things like that. And probably my first time being used to having a crowd as well too. And, people chanting out there, getting, riding the highs and lows of every play too. So, yeah, it was cool. But, I guess once I got into the rhythm of the game and stuff like that, it was super cool to have the opportunity.
Awesome. I guess you were a big part of the magic that led the Sharks to the 2024 NRLW Grand Final. You're one of the most talked about players, and I'm super keen to get to know that if after the Grand Final, did you feel like that brought you to a new height as a woman in the NRLW?
Yeah, I feel like in a way, I guess. I think obviously I was fortunate enough in my first year to make the grand final in Parramatta and probably didn't realise at the time how lucky I was to be able to play in a grand final, I guess, before the men's space too. And growing up as a Cronulla, local and junior, I think, you always dream about playing for that jersey and wanting to make a grand final and to be able to make that with that team. A lot of us grew up with our careers together too with my first ever rugby league game was with Quincy Dodd and Tale Holmes, and that was in our Cronulla-Caringbah local team, and then we went on to play the first of Tasha Gale together, and we kind of said to each other when we made that grand final, like we felt like we finally made it together, and it was pretty special for us. And I think even though we didn't get the win again, I think that feeling was really different to the 2022 grand final. I think we were 24-0 down at halftime and probably a bit rattled and, I guess the culture and connection we had as a team there was just something that's so unbreakable and, some of them are my best friends to this day, but I think we just really brought the best out of each other and, we came back, I think it was 28-32 by the end, and for us, like, even though it was a disappointing feeling of losing that grand final, I know that we were so proud of each other and I think we all felt like we unlocked each other's best potential in that game type thing. And for me, I feel like I just got to step up as that leader again. And yeah, despite not getting the win again, I feel like second time round, I knew that pressure, what comes with the grand final as well, and to not take it for granted and, really soak up the experience. It's a pretty big week, grand final week in NRL, and you've got a lot of things to do, training, and you want to kind of not listen to that outside pressure. But, I think by halftime, there was a massive crowd there. I think most of them were probably cheering for us in the second half comeback. But we loved it, and I think that was really good experience for me to then take on to heading to the Bulldogs. I'd obviously known that was my last game for the Sharks in the grand final, so wanted to obviously get the win with my best mates, but for me it was just knowing that I had that experience and want to take that knowledge and learnings onto then the next stage of my career, which was at the Bulldogs. So really grateful that I got another chance to be able to play in a grand final and teach the girls the highs and lows of rugby league too.
Definitely. No, that sounds so awesome. I think did you take anything away from that into your now next career phase in the Bulldogs?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot from probably Tiana Penatani. She's such a great leader in our game and such an inspiration. And, she's one of my great friends, but I always tell her that, how much I look up to her. And I think just seeing how she was as a captain in that team for us, it's pretty easy to put your heads down when you're 24-0 down and get lost up in, the big moments and things like that too, I think that come along with it. But just her leadership in that sense, and along with other girls that, were our senior players, I think I got a lot of inspiration from that. And, I guess just how they spoke to us girls and, when things aren't going your way, how do we bounce back from that too? And, I guess for me, I really learned a lot from her and took a lot of inspiration to hopefully, I want to be my own leader in my own right, but also why not learn from the best leaders and ask a lot of questions. So for me, I guess it was that. And just knowing when you need to step up in big moments and take it by the hand, I guess. And looking back, I definitely want to, make sure that if I ever get my opportunity again, and, I'll definitely ask those moments too.
Awesome. It seems like, you've learned a lot since you started to now. So it's awesome to see you progress as well. I think you've done a great job so far. So hopefully.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess NRL is a notoriously men's game, basically. But what would you say to those young girls who watch the games with their dads that really want to play footy? They live and breathe it, but they're told it's not a place for a girl.
Yeah, I think obviously we face a lot of challenges, even just not in rugby league in general, in I guess nearly every sport. I think a lot of sports are always deemed male dominated and things like that. But I just see, why not? Why not break the narrative? And I think, you meet so many amazing people along the way that can help you not only in your career, but also, outside of the sport or outside of rugby league. I think I've met so many amazing people that have kind of shaped the person I am now. And I'm truly grateful for those experiences. And I think for young girls, it's just, you can't be what you can't see. So now having the NRLW out on a massive platform for us, and we're seeing it grow every single year. The quality's getting better, the investment's getting better. And I think for those young girls, it's so exciting to now, potentially be a future NRLW superstar. And, in many years to come, it's going to be full time. And, I'm so excited. It makes me really excited for the young girls coming through. And I think, give it a go. You never know what doors it can open. And I think just having fun and also learning, I think that's the best thing I have is, why not challenge the boys? You might turn out to be better than some of them too. So I think, we just want to make it our own product. I always say, we're not trying to replicate the men's product in the NRLW. We're trying to have our own product as well. And that's why we want to show young girls, hey, it's not a predominantly men's sport anymore. It's 50, hopefully it's going to be 50-50 in many years to come. But, we want to show them that, there's clear pathways now too. I think we've seen that with Lisa Fiola, Tasha Gale, Harvey Norman, now NRLW too. Whereas before, I think, I played in the first ever Tasha Gale comp, but before then you probably got lost in the game a little bit. And, I didn't start playing till I was 16. So now young girls can kind of, I guess, play local footy, have fun with their friends, learn new skills, and then progress if they want to become professional athletes. And I think that's something to be really special and excited about. I love coaching. I love helping the young ones. And so it just makes me super excited.
No, I guess that's awesome. I think my background's motorsport, but I grew up watching footy and supercars with my dad, and having for me, Simona Di Silvestro on the grid back when I was a kid, I was like, whoa, there's a girl in there. So yeah, it's interesting to see it with footy as well, because I know when I was younger, there was no female players really that you saw on telly. So definitely right.
Yeah.
See it, you can do it. So It's the reason I'm in the position I am now. So
Yeah, I love that. Exactly right.
no, awesome. I guess that kind of leads me to my next question. I know you mentioned earlier you want NRLW to be full time. Do you have a main job apart from being a pro football player?
Yeah, so I'm pretty fortunate. I work for OzTag, Southern Shire OzTag, and Australian OzTag as well. So for me, I work 4 days a week, and they're great. Obviously, it's in sport. So Perry Haddock, my boss, he played NRL once upon a time, and I think it's just really good for me. I love sport. I really care about sport, and so for me, I'm probably lucky that I have a job that aligns similar to, I guess, my career aspirations in NRLW, and it can be a lot. Obviously, we have to work pretty much full time during the day and then head to training in the afternoon. So it can kind of be hard to juggle it. And I think now, because we're heading to kind of full time, hopefully, there's a lot more expectations and a lot more sacrifices we have to make. And I know, there's a lot of girls that work in the city full time and, having to take a lot of time off work to leave to get to trainings early. And that's probably a barrier we still struggle with at the moment. And, we've obviously got some Thursday night games and Friday night games now that I guess, girls are going to have to take time off work and things like that. So, we're really fighting to hopefully become full time. And I know there's a lot of passionate people in the background trying to, get that to happen. And, that's what we're kind of, we want to play for. We want to make the quality great and become better athletes for those younger girls that are coming through. They don't have to worry about that. They can just be full-time athletes. And I think, once we see that, again, the game's going to go leaps and bounds. Hopefully we get a lot more teams too. But for us, we just want to see it keep progressing and, kind of be full-time athletes. So, yeah, I'm very lucky in my job. I love my job. It's a pretty fun job to work for OzTag, I think. And, I know a lot of my friends get jealous that, I've probably got a good job and not just sitting in, an office in the city or anything like that. But yeah, very lucky. And again, I grew up playing OzTag since I was 5. So for me, I've, spent 20 years in the game playing and, to be able to kind of give back in that aspect as well. I think, my rugby league skills wouldn't be where they were without probably playing OzTag. So I kind of love that I have that mix and can kind of help other players too. It's pretty cool.
No, awesome. I guess, yeah, I mean, since you were 5, that's awesome. I know I'm in grassroots motorsport, so I'm used to seeing like young kids behind a wheel, but could you tell me how you got started, I guess, at 5? What led you to the interest in playing OzTag?
I think I've just always been an active kid. I think my parents, grew up playing, touch and OzTag when it first started. And I think, because I'm just such an active kid, I was always outside running around with the boys. I was probably a bit of a tomboy growing up. So for me, it was just, I guess I had a lot of close-knit group of friends back in when I was in kindy. I still remember it. But, I guess me and my best friend, we were the only 2 girls that played in a boys team back then because, again, similar, there probably wasn't many girls playing the sport, so you kind of just had to play with the boys there too. And, we laugh, we have a photo where it's just us 2 and all the boys playing together and in our little joggers back then, didn't even have boots, but we just absolutely loved it. I think running around, having fun with your friends, like what more could you ask for? And I think I just got a lot of joy out of that and then just played, kept playing since and, catch pass skills, kicking, things like that. And pretty lucky that my best friend to this day still, we've been best friends since we were 3, but yeah, we got to play together since we were 5. So it's pretty cool in that sense. And then, yes, led me to where I am now.
No, awesome. I love hearing that people have long-term best friendships. So do I. In the same age. Her name's Michaela. Same. We played soccer together when I was 16. So
it's cool.
The comp was super small, and it's disappointing to see when the older we get that we want to play sports that it's smaller and smaller. I had to stop at 18 because there wasn't a comp to play in.
Yeah, wow.
So it's just, as you said that, I'm like, wow, it's so cool to see that, like, at least you guys were able to continue playing that whole time. I know a lot of younger girls probably weren't as fortunate. So it's nice to see that the NRLW is kind of helping push that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I guess more of a serious note. Sorry, it's about to get more serious.
That's okay. It's so fun.
So I guess, have you ever had any negative comments while chasing the title pro footballer?
Yeah, I probably have. And I think, I think when I first started, I had some people say, why are you playing rugby league? It's a boys sport, things like that. And for me, I've always probably been that person that likes a challenge. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong type thing. And, I guess even now as a professional or part-time professional athlete, I should say. But, you know, I guess you cop a lot of backlash, even, you know, wins, losses, things like that. You know, you're going to cop a lot of hate. And, you know, obviously we see a lot of negative things on social media. I think sometimes social media can be a great thing and then it can be a bad thing at the same time. So I think I just try kind of keep my circle small and surround myself with people that align with my goals and values. And I think I read something actually the other day that I really liked, and it was, you know, if you wouldn't take advice off them, then don't listen to their criticism. And I think that's so true. Or if you're not going to ask them for advice, then yeah, don't listen to their criticism. And I think that's a good point, because, you know, you kind of ask people that are in your circle for advice. So they're the ones that you kind of should be listening to, if anything. And, you know, I think I'm my own worst critic at times myself, but yeah, I think just sometimes it can be a bit disheartening when you hear that, or you know, you're not going out there to lose a game or you lose a race or anything like that. You're trying to give your best. So sometimes I think that can be hard because you're just trying to give your all, and sometimes the other team's going to be better at the end of the day, and you know, things happen. But you know, we wouldn't be in an elite space if we weren't a competitive person. So I think that's what I just try to remind myself is, if I can give myself or give 110% every single time, then that's all I can ever ask of myself. So, and my teammates as well. So I think that's what we always focus on, and try not focus on the negatives, because yeah, I think it can send you on a pretty negative downward spiral. And, you know, we've seen that in women's sport a lot. It can happen, and yeah, it's not ideal. I definitely had some comments where, you know, people have probably said, you know, I've had one, I think when I was at Sharks, and it was a really nasty comment saying that I didn't care, and, you know, because I'd signed my contract at Bulldogs, and that really hit a nerve with me. And I remember I got really upset. But again, my circle that was around me at the time, you know, reminded me what's important. And yeah, now I kind of decide to just clock off from the negative comments that I read online and try not pay attention as much as I can.
No, definitely. I think it's a similar thing for a lot of different sports where, you know, those comments can really get to people, and it's all about where they've got to try and have that mental strongness to get through it and have the thicker skin, which in my opinion, I don't feel like they should need to do that.
No, yeah, exactly right.
People just mind their business.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an unfortunate part of sport. But I think I've seen so many different comments from fans when it has been a Bulldogs game, uplifting every single player on the team. So I think even other teams like, you know, the Roosters and everything, all the comments are always trying to uplift their players. Oh, don't worry, head up next time. So
yeah, definitely.
Hopefully the good outweighs the bad.
100%. Yeah, and we're really lucky, I think. You know, I'm always biased, but I think, you know, the Bulldogs have the best fans, the most passionate fans, but they really truly care about you as players. And I think once you pull that jersey on, or, you know, if you wear that emblem and club logo, I think they really support you. And I love that. I think, you know, we obviously experienced that last year where we had, you know, some wins, some losses, but, you know, when we walk past the crowd, they're always saying how proud they are of us. And I think that was really cool to see. And I guess for especially the younger girls coming through too, you know, it shows them that, you know, our fans truly do care about us. And I love that. I think it makes you want to play for them even more. And, you know, at least, you know, they really know that you're going out there to give your all every single time. So, yeah, I think that's what's really special. And yeah, we're very lucky to have some awesome fans.
Awesome. I guess, do you think grassroots NRL for young girls, especially with the NRLW now, do you think that they've got better opportunities as they progress than when you started?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, like I said, you know, when I first started, there wasn't even a Tash Gal competition. It was just you play local comp. And back then, obviously growing up in the Shire, we didn't even have a local competition in the Shire. I know we had to go out and expand to the Greater West region, and, you know, we're probably travelling an hour to each game and things like that. And I think there was maybe 6 teams at the time in the under-18s competition. And I was actually chatting, you know, my first game was against Chester Hill, and being out in the Bulldogs area now a lot, I actually spoke to some of the girls and said, you know, how cool it was. Some of them were playing for that club, and I said, you know, my first ever game was against that club. And you know, they couldn't believe that obviously they have their own competition now. And I just said that's how much the game's grown, is we're seeing all the areas, local areas, getting so many more teams. And I love that. I think that's the grassroots level. That's where we want them to be competing. And then, you know, now to see Lisa Fiola competitions, Tasha Gale competitions. You know, when I first started, Tasha Gale was 9-a-side. It was just 9s. And I said I missed that concept. It used to be really fun. And, you know, now to see that they've got 13-a-side as well, you know, there's a clear pathway for the girls. You know, you can play local club footy, then go into the representative honours, and, you know, to see the city versus country under-19s, then origin under-19s as well now. I think it's the clear pathway, the same as what the men's have. And I think that just shows girls how much the game has grown and the investment that we're having in it. It's so exciting. And, that's why I always love to give back because, once upon a time I was one of those girls coming through there, wishing for an opportunity. And I was really lucky to have some awesome players in, Ruan Sims and Alana Ferguson that kind of paved the way for the things we have now. I remember I experienced when I was in the under-19s and under-18, sorry, and back then, the older girls kind of explain how they barely used to even get any gear. It was probably one pair of shorts, one pair of, shirt, training shirt, and that was it. And, now we're given so much as well. So, it's changing a lot and you're getting treated like professionals, and you see that in the junior leagues too. And that's why I think so many girls now are aspiring to be the best of the best and, hit that elite level, and it's so exciting.
Women's State of Origin, there was a lot of people. It was my first ever game I was actually able to attend for the women's comp, and went with my dad and my mum, and we were amazed that there was 21,000 fans there to support the girls. So it was, the little girl inside of me was like, oh my God. So,
yeah, it's so cool.
It was awesome. I was sitting in front of a bunch of young girls who were all decked out in all the gear. They were like shouting out to all the female players, and I was like, this is like, it's so awesome to see that the progression's come this far, that these young girls have these massive icons they can look up to and see that like it's possible to get to that level.
Yeah.
It felt so special to be there. The atmosphere was unreal. So it's awesome to see that women are getting the recognition in football, especially.
Yeah, definitely.
NRL's a big thing, obviously more on the east coast of Australia, in Sydney and Brisbane, between those two areas. I think it's great to see that it's grown so much and there's so much support for it. Even like some blokes that I've spoken to, they're like, oh yeah, did you watch the girls game on the weekend? And I was like, yeah, I did. Oh, and I'm like, he's watching it? So,
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, 100%. And that's what I said too. Like, I actually was saying to someone not long ago, like, it was cool to have our first ever Magic Round last year in Newcastle. And obviously the weather wasn't great, but when I was chatting to some people, there was, some men's fans in the crowd, and they didn't actually, people kind of said, oh, who are you here watching? And they're like, we just wanted to come and support the girls. Like, we love the girls' footy. And I think for me especially, I thought that was so cool. I thought, we're not only getting just now female fans, the men's fans are also wanting to pay attention to and watch. And I think that's just showing how much the game is growing, and the product's getting better. And, now this year we get to go out to Wagga Wagga for Magic Round. And I think that's so cool to be able to go out to the country and, show those kids there too. I know we've got a couple of the girls in the NRLW that have come from the country towns too. And, they're small towns, but, they love rugby league, and it's cool to show those girls too that, hey, no matter where you live, you've always got a pathway to succeed. And if you want to go down that pathway, there's opportunities for you. And I think that's really cool too.
Absolutely. Speaking of opportunities, did you have a mentor to help you become the player that you are today?
I'd say I've had a couple of probably people that have played a big impact in my life. I'd have to say my mum and dad have really been big mentors of me. I think they're always just wanting me to strive to be the best, and they give me the honest feedback when I need it, that's for sure. And sometimes it's very humbling, but I definitely know I wouldn't be the person or player I am without them. And, my dad used to always come down to the park with me and kick footies. Could be down there for 2 hours, and I'm sure it's the last thing he wants to do after a long day at work. But, he just wants to see me become the best player I can. And I think, I was lucky he coached me in junior sports growing up too. So I have to have a massive credit to him as well. And probably, like I said earlier, Ruan Sims, Alana Ferguson, and Kate Mullally. I think those three, Ruan's an elite player of the NRLW. I know that she only probably got a small few years in the game, but if she's a household name in our game now, and she paved the way for where we are now, and I owe her massive credit. And I know my first ever Sharks game, we used to play before the NRLW started. We used to do like these exhibition games, and I remember my first ever game when I think I was still 17 or 18. She wrote me like a personal letter, and that's something that I've never actually forgotten. And I said it to her maybe 2 years ago now, but for me that meant so much to me to have such an elite role model, really care about you as a person and a player, and just to say how proud she was of me. But for me, being that young kid, I think that was so special. And Lana Ferguson, she was like my big sister 2.0, took me under her wing and just wanted to, make sure that I stayed grounded and keep working and do the, she always gave me great advice to do the extras, do the one percenters. And I guess being a young kid going through, you kind of might be a bit quiet, a bit shy. And, she just told me to be confident in myself and backed my ability. And again, Kate Mullally, same thing. She's kind of been alongside my journey too. So yeah, I've had been lucky in the sense I've had quite a few people look out for me. And, that's what I say now. I want to be that person I had, because I know some people, aren't always as lucky as probably what I was to have those people that look out for them as well. So, and guide them in the right direction. So yeah, very lucky. And I think, yeah, definitely want to be the player or person I am without those people.
Awesome. No, I had to laugh when you said your dad went down the park. Same. I
You know the feels.
poor dad roped him into all the sports.
Yeah, yeah, that's honestly me. Played every sport, and they always had to be their mum and dad. That's for sure.
Yeah. No, looking back at all the time when I was a kid, different sports, freaking tennis, soccer, touch footy, I'm like, oh, poor dad.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I know.
No, awesome. I guess what's something that you'd like to say to those who want to get to this level of football in Australia?
I think just give it a go. I think you won't ever know. I think I always think like don't die with regrets type thing, and I think give it a go. You can love it, and it can turn out amazing, or at least you can turn around and say you gave it one hell of a crack. And I think the endless amounts of friendships you're going to make, the skills you're going to learn. There's just so many endless opportunities now too, and I think just give it a go and see what can happen, and it can open so many doors for you. And that's just one big thing I think I always pride myself on, and do the extras, do the one percenters, because I think even when no one's watching, it's always going to pay off at the end of the day. I think when time comes, you're ready type thing. So I think I love seeing little girls down at the park passing the footies, practicing, and I love we've got little ball girls and stuff like that too, and they love it. They have the biggest smiles on their faces too. So for me, I love that now they can even have opportunities like that now they go, hey, I want to be where you are one day. And I say to them, one day you're going to be taking my position, and then roles will be reversed, and I'll be their fair girl, that's for sure too. But yeah, honestly, just so many endless opportunities that they can have.
Awesome. No, it's as you said, the young girls that are down at the field at the edge of the fence after like, oh my gosh, it's so cool to see. I guess, have you noticed an influx, while we're talking about young girls, of young girls and women coming to support the NRLW games?
Yeah, definitely. I think we have had a couple of games where I've met some young fans, and they've travelled 8 hours to come to a game, and I just can't believe that they get in the car and they're coming and watching, and I think that's so special, because I know families have said this is our only opportunity to come out and watch this game, or they wanted to come meet us and things like that, and I think that's so special. And I love it. I think I think it was one game where I thought I could hear my name, but kind of just thought I was imagining things, and it was the young fans in the stands just yelling out my name, and I get goosebumps about that, because I just think how lucky am I, to have young kids cheering on your name. And obviously then you got the other ones that are on the other side that are probably trying to heckle you. I get that a lot when I goal kick, but to me, I just love it. I think it's the best. I think they're so passionate about the game, and we're seeing so many new fans, men and female too, and I think that's really special. And you've got a couple of fans that put our names on their jerseys now, or I know we've got a Bulldogs fan, and he has a big cape, and he's put every single player on there from our team, and we always say that's so cool. Like that's some fan that loves our game and is so passionate about us, and we think that's so special, and I think that's really cool to see. But yeah, so lucky, and we're getting bigger crowds now. Like you said, the state of origin, the girls are packing out stadiums. Obviously us girls are training, but to see on TV how many people are out there for the girls is so exciting, and I know they all speak about it too, of how special it is. And again, girls wearing their names on their jerseys and knowing their name, wanting them to sign jerseys, and I think that's one big thing that all us girls are so grateful for and really appreciate that. And I know that a lot of us want to give back to those younger fans that have made the effort to travel really far. And I think even there was a state of origin in Townsville, and that game was nearly sold out for the state of origin too, and even the test matches, things like that. It's really cool to see. I think instead of having 10 people out there or just your family and friends, now you're getting genuine fans too, just like the men are too. So it's really cool.
No, awesome. Yeah, as I said, State of Origin Newcastle was my first ever in-person proper footy game. I've grown up with cystic fibrosis, so I was always either in hospital watching footy or
Oh, wow.
sports stuff. So being able to be there and experience that was awesome, especially as a sports journalist as well. It was cool to
Yeah, for
be
sure.
on the other side. So it's awesome to see. I know I keep saying it's awesome, but it's truly awesome to see, like a women's sport be uplifted and showcased in the way that it is. And I think the NRL have done a really great job of like facilitating a spot for it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the NRL's been great in, we have meetings and they really listen to what the girls' space, need or want, I guess. And we've all got that aligned goal. And I think that's what's so special. And to bring in, the magic rounds and things like that, they really are showing they care about the women's space. And I think that's really special too. And I think exactly right. We're getting new fans come across, from different sporting, codes as well. And I think it's a really cool thing. And I know you say, yeah, it's awesome, but I think too, because, 10 years ago, we just didn't have those opportunities. So to now, I think in the space of even 5 to 10 years, it's grown so quickly. And that's why I just think, we've got so much growth to go, but it's going to happen very quickly. And I think the young girls are in such good hands moving forward, which is something to be so excited about too.
Absolutely, yeah. It already looks like it's going to be a big year for the NRL. So just from
Yeah.
all the preview stuff that they're all doing, I'm like, whoa, it's going to be huge.
It is.
Awesome. I guess, what do you think the NRLW has done for women in the football scene across the nation?
I think they've just put us on the big stage. I think, we're making moves in terms of, the quality's getting better, like I said earlier, but, we're seeing those elite professional athletes, really stand out. And I think, we're getting our own platform. We've got standalone games. And again, we're generating our own fan bases too. And I think that's so cool. And I guess the NRL's been really good in the sense of we haven't just grown the game for the sake of ticking off a box and having the same amount of teams as the men. I think we've got that slow progression, and you're seeing now, every team's being competitive, and, girls are getting split across all different clubs too. And I think that's awesome, but I think, we're not spreading it too thin. Like I said, I think each game's getting competitive, and that's what we want to see. And I think that's what the fans want to see too. And I love that. I think the slow progression, obviously we want to be able to have more rounds eventually and things like that too. But again, we're trusting the process, and, to be able to have players in big meetings and be involved and have a say too, I think is really cool and special, that many people probably don't know. And I think because they really do want to listen to what, I guess female players' perspectives are. We're lucky that, we've got the RLPA board that really voice the players' opinions too. And I think it's pretty cool to be able to do that, I think, and put the women on an elite platform too. I think, we really speak highly of it. And I know us girls, like I said, we want to just build our own product. And we're seeing that with the investment in the coaching staff. Like, all the coaches not only want to see you become the best players that you can be, they also want to see you become great people off the field too. And, a lot of clubs care about the players on and off the field, and post-career aspirations as well, things like that too. And, we've seen some girls, they're probably very, very well known in the social media department too. But again, that's great for our game. It's great for them too. And, they're really supportive in that. And, I guess some girls are becoming household names, which is really special too. And again, then it leads back into hopefully getting those young girls to see those be role models at the end of the day and aspire to be them too, which is cool.
Absolutely. And I guess that kind of brings me into my other question that I just thought of.
Sorry, I'm probably just answering all your questions.
I guess having more clubs get involved as well that are in the men's game. I know, is it Panthers? I think they're coming into it either this year or next year. It's cool seeing so many, but I just want to see, how does it feel as a player, from a player's perspective, to see all these teams and clubs actually kind of, I guess, invest in the NRLW?
Yeah, it's really special. I think, we've seen now, like, Manly have now come back into the junior rep scene too, because they know that, you can't just tick a box and have an NRLW team. They want to see the pathway, and a lot of clubs want to see their local juniors talent come through. And I think that's really special to be able to have a lot of local juniors come through your systems and things like that too. So I know a lot of clubs like Panthers, Melbourne Storm have just come into our Tashgale competition, and Lisa Fiola comp, and those clubs are really wanting to be a part of it. And I think that's a huge testament to the current clubs that are in the NRLW comp is, hey, they're doing something right, because now the other clubs are wanting to be a part of it, and the quality's getting better. And I think they're really seeing what works for clubs, and now kind of trying to get that. And because there is so much untapped talent, I think, we've got a lot of young girls playing rugby league. We're seeing the numbers go through the roof at junior route, grassroots, and all they need is just access to be able to have elite pathways. And now to see that, and I know South have been, been in the Harvey Norman competition Tasha Gale and that for a couple of seasons now. And, you know, all those clubs are really vocal and they want to get it right in their junior systems first, and then, you know, have aspirations to join the NRLW. And I think that's cool. And obviously we can't wait till it's, you know, going to be full time and we're going to see all the teams. But first and foremost, as players, you know, we just want to make sure that we've got that quality there and make sure that we've got all the right investments as well moving forward. And obviously we'd love to probably see more rounds come in and then obviously have expansion as well after that. But you know, this year's the first year that we've got now 2 supplementary contracts, so our squad sizes are getting a little bit bigger because in the female game it's getting faster, everyone's getting stronger and faster, and you know, with that obviously in elite sport comes injuries and things like that too. So to be able to see now we can have another 2 players join our squads, so kind of makes it like a top 30 squad in a way with our full development as well. You know, I think that's really great to see, and a lot more girls are getting opportunities to be a part of an elite system. And, you know, maybe in a year or 2 they might end up in another system, but at least they can take the knowledge they've gained from a current system in the NRLW. And, you know, we've seen the teams that when they were in the first 4 teams, they've set up their systems for a long time now and they're really successful. And, you know, obviously we all want to be the best. We all want to win that trophy at the end of the day. So, yeah, very lucky that we've got great clubs in the NRLW at the moment that really do care about the girls, and yeah, like I said, really investing in getting the right coaching staff and also just treating us like the ultimate professionals. I think that's a massive part too. Yeah, I think that's massive.
No, awesome. I guess I'll move into non-serious stuff now.
That's all right.
So I guess we're talking about like pre-game, post-game kind of stuff. I know mental preparation is a huge thing for all athletes. Obviously my expertise more in motorsport and speaking to different athletes there about their preparation. I guess for mental preparation for NRLW, do you find that you're having to really work on the psychology side of things, or is it more so just kind of like what's your vibe for that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think I've probably been a bit more open to it as of probably in the last couple of years. Like, we're probably lucky that we have access to sports psychologists as well, and I know you know, that's a space that we're kind of getting a bit more educated in. You know, obviously as the game grows, there's more pressure that comes along with it. And I think obviously we haven't grown up in elite systems from a young age too. So sometimes we don't actually know how to cope with that as well. So we're probably getting lucky that we can have access to that. But for me, again, it's probably keeping who I surround myself with in that sense of just people that uplift you. And I guess I watch a lot of footy. I'm a bit of a footy nerd. I always call myself a footy nerd, and I probably watch a lot of video, and I know a lot of the girls do. We kind of study the game a lot, and you know, that's how we kind of mentally prepare for each game. Is we get in our groups and things like that where we need to cut video, watch video, have discussions, have meetings with our coaches and stuff like that too. And I think that helps us mentally prepare, as well as obviously then trainings and things like that. But I guess pre-game, I kind of more the fun one in the sheds and things like that, I guess. You know I've done the hard work during the week, and I think I don't want to psych myself out before running out on the field. I think I just want to be in that relaxed state, and I think it's just finding that happy medium. Obviously you don't want to be too relaxed, but yeah, I think just being relaxed, knowing I've put the work in. You know, I like to sing, I like to dance in the sheds when I get ready, but also then I know I kind of probably have a little book that I write things down of what I want to achieve in that game. Or what my, you know, the key points are from my coach, and make sure I just I kind of read them before I run out. And then as soon as I take that field, they're my clear directions for the game. And, you know, that's kind of how I put my best foot forward. But, yeah, I guess that's me personally, but I know everyone's different. And I think that's what's special, is we're all unique in our own way of how we prepare. And, yeah, it's really cool that we do have different avenues and things like that too. And sometimes too, asking different players on how they mentally prepare for a game. You know, some are more the fun ones, some of the ones don't talk to them, they're in the zone type thing. And, you know, I respect everyone how they prepare. But yeah, for me, I'm happy to have a chat to anyone in the sheds. It's kind of my way of knowing I'm switched on still.
Absolutely. And I guess you said you're the fun one, like all the games. So I guess, have you got a favourite pre-game meal? Are you superstitious with it?
I have a few superstitions. I think the night before I always have to fake tan. I'm very well known for that one. I always have a laugh because I always say the more tanned I am, the faster I'm going to run the next day in that game. And I know people sound crazy, but I still believe it. And then morning of, I always have to have bacon and eggs. Probably not the best go-to game day meal, but for me, it's been a thing since I was a kid. So that's just something that I think for me, I always have the same prep. And then I always have to wear my same coloured undies and things like that. I'm very particular at all these things, and if I don't win that game, then it's thrown out and I have a new set. That's for sure. But probably they're my pre-game, and then I kind of have like a pre-game playlist that I listen to, or then kind of when it comes into finals I listen to more motivational speeches and things like that, and then I'm very in the zone when it comes to that. But yeah, I guess that's my kind of pre-game superstitions, I must say.
Awesome. No, a lot of motorsport people I've spoken to, they pump up to music prior. Sometimes they just sit in absolute dead silence.
Yeah.
It was just interesting to see if it was, I guess, similar as well, which it sounds it. Love that. I guess, how do you find that you prepare differently to your teammates pre-game?
I think our team's very well connected, so I think we're all similar in the sense that, we like to kind of we all listen to similar music and things like that. But, a couple girls headphones on, we have the speaker playing, but, we respect some girls have their headphones on and listen to their own prep. But, we've all got kind of like this specific prep that we have to get through regardless as a team standard. And, we all make sure we do that as well. And, I think we just really know that everyone preps differently. And I think that's how you're going to get the best out of your teammates, right? Is however they're going to prep the best is what you want to be able to perform the best. So for us, we're kind of just trying to understand how each player wants to prep and things like that too. And that's one thing the club's been great on. And, sometimes some of us just need like I know I need a purple Powerade. I know I've been in teams where other people need a certain coloured Powerade to have before. And I know it sounds really weird and probably really minuscule, but we kind of just say if we can get those things. And I love that, the staff are so proactive in that and kind of always help us in knowing what we need to become the best or perform the best to our ability as well. So yeah, different girls do different things. I know some girls read, they have like a little thing they read before a game and things like that. And I guess for us, we always have tip sheets now too. So for some of us, we might be sitting in the corner, no one disturb them, we're reading our tip sheet, that's for sure. I know our coach likes that one because he knows we're switched on and focused on it. And I guess obviously everyone just preps differently and you just got to embrace it.
Absolutely, and trust me, not weird about the Powerade thing. Before that, mine was always blue, so it's all good.
yeah, it's just a thing. It's a superstitious thing. I should have said that one before. Doesn't matter if it's a 10 a.m. game. I still got to have one.
No, I felt that one. What's been your biggest challenge in your career this far?
It's a great question. I guess
a bit loaded.
Yeah, I'm trying to have a think. I think obviously I've experienced probably different challenges. I guess prior to NRLW was doing my ACL, and I'm having probably a big knee injury. I felt like I was probably in my prime, and that year I kind of I guess had obviously aspirations. I felt like I was the fittest, fastest I'd been, and was probably playing really good footy. And around that time, that's when COVID hit and everything like that, and then hit an injury. So I kind of felt really isolated at that time. And I think the NRLW might have kicked off that year or the year before, sorry. And for me, I was in the stands watching my best friends make their debuts, and, I was so proud of them. And for me, it was just like, I wish I could be out there with them. And I know that was a really big mental challenge for me to get over as well. And so to be able to get my opportunity a couple of years later for Parramatta, that's why I'm so forever grateful for that club to give me my first ever opportunity. And, I've never looked back now. And I guess that's been a big challenge in itself. But also probably, I guess, I've probably been fortunate to, when I played for Sharks, I was in our inaugural season in that year as well. And then to be able to come to the Bulldogs and be in our inaugural season, I think, there's something really exciting about, being the first ever to do it. And, along with that comes a lot of challenges as well. But I think, I kind of take those challenges in a positive light. I never want to see challenges in a negative light. And I think that's what's been really cool. And I want to pass that on to the girls is, hey, we were the first to ever be a part and represent, the Bulldogs, and we're in history. And I think, now it's exciting that we can build on that as, we probably didn't obviously win as many games as we'd hoped. And, obviously we're competitive athletes. We all want to win and things like that. But for us, I look at it like, hey, we can now build on that. We've laid the foundations for future generations to come too. But I think that's really special too as well in that sense. So yeah, I try to not look at challenges in a negative light. I always look at it in a positive light. And I'm always challenging myself to become a better athlete and better person and better leader. And I just want to be a good role model for many of the younger girls coming through.
Awesome. And I guess my last question.
Yeah.
I guess now knowing what you know with all your experience so far in your career, how we just spoke about the biggest challenges, what advice would you give to the younger you with all the experience you now have coming into your 4th year into the NRLW?
I think it's just surround yourself with people that align with your values and goals. And I think it's probably easy to get lost, in the highs of everything that comes with being a professional athlete too. I think is just make sure you stay grounded, keep doing the 1%ers and, and I always say that to girls that, might be missing out on teams now. I just think if you keep working hard and you ask questions and want to be better and challenge yourself, eventually it's going to pay off. I know it will. Talent's only going to get you so far at the end of the day when, that quote when it says talent meets talent, it's, that's when we need the people that are going to be working hard too at the end of the day. So for me, I think that's just a massive thing in that sense. And it's one thing that I guess, I just really aspire is for them is to just keep working hard and you're going to get your opportunity. And when you do, don't ever let it go and, just keep being better and, you're going to earn it at the end of the day as well. So, I think the future's really bright with all these young girls coming through. I'm super excited and, just, for me, even us, we're sponges. We just want to soak up all the information and, I guess is fill your cup too. Obviously, professional sport, there comes a lot of pressure and I think you need to have that balance of obviously on the field but also off the field. And I think, fill your cup, whatever that might be going to the beach, might be riding a bike, riding a motorbike, going out in the park with friends or, just getting coffee with friends. I think it's really important to have that that work balance, life work balance, I should say. Obviously being an elite athlete, that is work, right? So is to have that balance. And I think, if you're not happy off the field, you're not going to be happy on the field. That's a big thing I always say. So, and that's why I know in sport, you kind of spend more time with your teammates than you do with your own family at times too. So knowing that your teammates are your family as well and knowing that you can, hopefully if you build that right culture, you can rely on them for advice and things like that too. I think, sometimes we all try tough it out and try do it on our own. I know I was someone growing up, I probably tried to do that too much and think I didn't have to rely on anyone, but it's important to speak up when you need to and, ask for help when you need to too, because there's so many people that might be going through the similar things or have gone through similar experiences too. So I think that's just a massive thing is teaching the young girls that, hey, you've got a voice and we're all just as important. I know we're really big on that at Bulldogs is, no one's more important than anyone else and, no one's struggles is more important than anyone else's either too, is we're all one big family and that's what I love about the club. It's a family club too. So you truly feel like that. You can walk in those doors and talk to anyone, any staff member, and they're always happy to listen. And I think that's just a big thing to tell the girls is, just, speak up when you need to and, you've got a voice always.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the Tayla Talks pod. Up the doggies.
Up the doggies. Love that.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.